Hello and welcome. Today we're going to tackle a really important topic. How do you create a safe, healthy, and just as importantly, a satisfying diet for a 90-year-old with type 2 diabetes? We've gone through all the research to bring you the most practical, down-to-earth advice possible.
Look, it can feel like a lot. I get it. You're not just thinking about blood sugar, you're also dealing with all the other things that come with advanced age, right? Maybe a smaller appetite or worrying about muscle loss. But we're going to cut through all that confusion. We're going to break this down into simple, doable steps you can start using today.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with the most basic tool you have, your plate. Then we'll talk about the right fuels for powering your body. After that, we'll get into how to make food easy and enjoyable to eat. We'll also tackle the confusing world of supplements, what's real and what's not. And we'll finish up with some absolutely critical safety warnings. So where do we start with all of this? At the foundation. And I want you to forget about complicated carb counting or strict measuring, just for now. The single most powerful tool you have is literally right in front of you at every meal. It's your plate. This right here is called the diabetes plate method. And you know what? Its real power is just how simple it is. You just visually divide your plate. So imagine drawing a line down the middle. One half, a full 50%, is for non-starchy vegetables. We're talking broccoli, spinach, salads, green beans, all that good stuff. Then you take the other half and divide it. 1/4 is for a lean protein. Think chicken, fish, or eggs. And that last quarter is for your carbohydrate foods, like oatmeal or a small sweet potato. It's a fantastic visual trick to get your portions and balance right every single time. No math needed. Okay, so we've got the what for our plate. Now let's dig into the why. Because understanding how these different foods actually power your body, well, that's the key to keeping your energy stable and feeling good. All carbs will affect your blood sugar, but they are definitely not created equal. Think about it like this. Simple carbs, the kind you find in candy or white bread, are like kindling on a fire. They burn up super fast and cause a big, quick spike in your blood sugar. But complex carbs, the kind in whole foods like beans and oats, they're like a solid log on the fire. They've got fiber, which slows everything down and gives you a much steadier, longer-lasting release of energy. And here's a handy little tool to help with that, the glycemic index, or GI. It's just a way of ranking foods based on how fast they raise your blood sugar. Now, don't worry about memorizing this chart, just notice the pattern. We want to lean into the foods in that low GI column, like oats and berries, because they give you that steady energy. And we want to limit the high GI foods, like white bread and sugary drinks, that cause that fast spike. Now let's talk about protein, and this is so important. To fight off that muscle loss that can happen as we get older, it's actually a condition called sarcopenia. Older adults need way more protein than younger people. The goal is about 1.0 to 1.2 grams for every kilogram of body weight, every single day. Making sure that quarter of your plate is filled with good protein helps you maintain strength and mobility. It even helps with blood sugar control. All right, so knowing what to eat is one thing, but making it practical, especially if things like chewing have become a challenge, that's a whole other ballgame. So let's talk about preparation and flavor. This just goes to show that a soft food diet does not have to mean bland or boring, not at all. You can take all those nutrient-packed foods we've been talking about and just prepare them differently. Think about beautifully flaked salmon instead of a tough steak, or creamy mashed sweet potato instead of roasted chunks. Pureed vegetable soups are an amazing way to pack in nutrients and get extra hydration. It's all in the prep. You know, it's really common for our sense of taste to change as we get older, and that can sometimes reduce appetite. But before you reach for the salt shaker, which can cause issues with blood pressure, try these tricks. Things like fresh herbs, spices like cinnamon or turmeric, or even just a squeeze of lemon juice can bring food to life. They make everything vibrant and delicious with none of the downsides of extra salt. Okay, let's wade into one of the most confusing topics out there, supplements. This whole area is just filled with massive claims, so it is absolutely critical that we stick to the evidence and separate the facts from the fiction. Here it is, the #1 most important rule, and this comes straight from the American Diabetes Association. Get your nutrients from whole foods first. Supplements are not a magic pill. They're not a replacement for a healthy diet. Their only real job is to fix specific deficiencies that have been diagnosed by a doctor. And they should only ever be started after having that conversation. So let's break down what the science actually says. Take a look at the top two. Because of age and also because of some very common diabetes medications, deficiencies in vitamin B12 and vitamin D are incredibly common, and they can be serious. These two are high-priority conversations to have with a doctor about getting tested. Now for the others, like magnesium and omega-3s, the evidence is a little more mixed. The best plan is to get them from foods, like leafy greens and fatty fish, and only think about a supplement if your doctor says so. And this brings us to our final, and you could argue our most important section of all, staying safe. Understanding how medications and supplements can interact with each other isn't just a good idea, it's essential. Here is the single most important interaction for everyone to know about. Metformin is a fantastic and extremely common drug for type 2 diabetes, but it has a very well-known side effect. Over the long term, it can make it harder for your body to absorb vitamin B12 from the food you eat. So just how big of a deal is this? Well, research shows that up to 30%, that's nearly 1 in 3 people on long-term metformin, may have this issue. And a B12 deficiency can cause things like fatigue or nerve tingling that can be so easily mistaken for just getting older or even for a symptom of diabetes itself. That's what makes this so critical to monitor with a doctor. Think of this as your talk to your doctor cheat sheet. Adding any new supplement means you have to do a full review of all your current medications. Some supplements can actually increase the risk of your blood sugar dropping too low, which is dangerous. Others, like high-dose fish oil, can increase bleeding risk if you're also taking blood thinners. The bottom line is simple. Never, ever add a supplement without getting the green light from a healthcare professional first. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that you have two incredibly powerful tools, your plate and your doctor or pharmacist. Start with the plate. That simple 50-25-25 split is your foundation for everything. But always, always pair that knowledge with an open conversation with your healthcare team, especially when it comes to supplements and medications. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What is one small thing from this explainer? Maybe it's the plate method. Maybe it's asking about a B12 screening. What's the one thing you'll bring up with your doctor or caregiver this week? Thanks for joining us.